Hey yo, what up everybody? That's right, I'm talking about school again. A lot of things happened when I was in school, alright? But this time I'm going to be talking about school with someone else, aka TheOdd1sOut, aka James.
Hey!
So, how about you go first and talk about your experience with public speaking?
Okay, so I took a public speaking class in my community college for fun because I thought it would be fun and give me good practice for talking in videos. Turns out I didn't care at all about that class. For the final, we had to give a persuasive speech about a controversial topic, so I chose an issue that deeply affected me. I decided to talk about why we should get rid of the American penny. Turns out a YouTube channel that I really like by the name of CGP Grey made a video about the same idea. So I decided, I'll just use all of his ideas. And by the way, I didn't copy his video word for word. It was just every single one of his points were exactly every single one of my points. In that order. The teacher caught me and said I plagiarized, and she gave me a 0 on my final, and I got a D in the class. And that almost caused me a pretty big scholarship. If I got good grades when I transferred to an out-of-state college, then I would only have to pay in-state tuition. But that D tainted my GPA. I was not going to let that one class cost me thousands of dollars by not giving me that scholarship. I was taking that class for fun. I talked to a whole bunch of people at the school, and finally I talked to this really nice lady. She saw that I got A's and B's in all my other classes, because it was community college, okay? It's super easy. And then she saw that I got a D in public speaking, and she said, "Oh, you failed public speaking?" "Oh, yeah, I'm just horrible at public speaking." "Oh, yeah, I don't like public speaking either." And then she gave me the scholarship right on the spot. Like I said, she was nice.
Alright, thanks for sharing that. This totally isn't to get more views on this video. Okay, so I've got some entertaining experiences with in-class speeches, but the entertaining part was never anything that happened during the speech or, around it. What was entertaining were the speeches themselves. My goal when making a speech was never to actually work on my public speaking or to meet whatever parameters were set by the teacher. My only goal was to make the speech as blatantly ridiculous as I could about something I didn't care about whatsoever. So basically they were super informative and helpful. I gave a grand total of 2 speeches in my entire high school career, and they were both persuasive speeches. So I was always trying to convince people of something incredibly important and definitely worth talking about. The most recent one I gave was on what is the best mental disorder, and you'll find out what that is in a second. It was in my English literature class, and we were supposed to associate our persuasive speech with one of the books we read that year or something, so I associated my speech with Hamlet. That's why it's briefly mentioned at the beginning. Here is the speech I gave, word for word. One of the most significant characteristics of Hamlet in Shakespeare's Hamlet is his association with insanity or a mental irregularity of some kind. These types of problems are generally thought to be bad and put in a negative connotation, but today I ask you, what would be a mental disorder that someone would want to have? My answer to this question is a rare phenomenon known as alien hand syndrome. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Thomas, aren't mental disorders bad things that you don't want to have? And that's a good question. Anyways, alien hand syndrome is just what it sounds like. The victim has little to no control over one of their arms, and the afflicted arm performs movements on its own accord, completely involuntarily of the person it's attached to. This means the affected arm might randomly throw a pencil across the classroom, or even pinch the barista at Starbucks on the cheek. This inability to control one's arm may seem like a complete nuisance that hinders many simple tasks, but what it really does is introduce a greater level of randomness into your life. Randomness keeps life interesting, because when you don't know what to expect, it's exciting. If we always knew what was coming, our daily lives would be predictably dull. That's why those occasional curveballs that interrupt our daily routine really make life worth living. As author Eric Chasen puts it, the two go hand in hand like a dance. Chance flirts with necessity, randomness with determinism. To be sure, it is from this interchange that novelty and creativity arise in nature, thereby yielding unique forms of novel structures. Not only is this an extremely appropriate hand pun, but it also portrays the benefits of the unexpected in our lives. Having this disorder is pretty handy due to the fact that the affected arm usually takes on a personality that is opposite of the person it is attached to. For example, if you're a naturally shy person with alien hand syndrome, the affected arm might be more aggressive and brave with its actions. It could even be so helpful as to make a move on your crush when you would normally be too shy to do anything. If it doesn't go over so well with the other person, blame it on the alien hand. The alien hand basically fills up the gaps in your personality, making you a more well-rounded person. Some people with this disorder end up naming the affected arm because it feels detached from the main body, as if it were a separate person. You could even go so far as to put a sock puppet on the alien hand to give it a face. It would become that friend in your life that always surprises you with their random and nonsensical behavior. Now you're all probably thinking, wow, all these things sound great, and I really want alien hand syndrome, but how do I get it? Fear not, it can be done. Alien hand syndrome is caused by damage to the frontal lobe of the brain, which is responsible for motor skills, such as speech and movement. There is a specific surgery that has been performed to help epilepsy, in which the left and right hemispheres of the brain are separated. This procedure has been shown to be associated with the cause of alien hand syndrome. The downside to this surgery is it is extremely difficult and most likely expensive, as brain surgeries typically are. The upside is you don't have to be an epileptic to undergo the surgery, so there's nothing really stopping you from obtaining this wonderfully thrilling addition to your life. No other mental condition offers the great benefit of unplanned excitement from a friend that is constantly by your side, which is why alien hand syndrome is the best, if not most desirable mental disorder. If that doesn't convince you of how awesome alien hand syndrome is, then nothing will. When I was doing research for this speech, I actually used an article called 5 Mental Disorders That Will Totally Get You Laid, and it was actually very helpful. What was unfortunate is that right after I gave this speech, the next person to give a speech talked about real mental problems like depression or something like that, which was so much lamer than alien hand syndrome, but also indirectly made me look like something of an insensitive jerk. Anyways, the other speech I gave was during my junior year in the same class that I slept through half of, if you remember that from my sleeping in class video, and this time we were supposed to give our speeches in pairs, so I teamed up with one of my friends in the class. We decided to convince everyone of what the best animal in the world is. No, it's not a dog, not a cat, not a kiwi bird, and not a vampire squid, even though those are pretty cool. It's a mantis shrimp. Our entire speech was inspired from a webcomic by The Oatmeal, and we even ended up quoting it in the speech. So, here's the speech we gave, once again, word for word. And James will be voicing the part of my friend. The mantis shrimp. Perhaps the most fearsome creature pound for pound in the world. It is by far the best living thing on Earth.
Have you ever seen a creature that can flick its arms so quickly that water around it boils? The mantis shrimp can. Have you ever seen a creature that, if it were human-sized, could throw a baseball into orbit? The mantis shrimp could. Have you ever seen a creature so stunningly beautiful that if it were to fly, it would be mistaken for a rainbow? The mantis shrimp would.
As humans, we see some pretty awesome colors, right? We got those blues, purples, reds, and greens. Well, prepare your minds to be blown. Every color that the human eye can see is derived from 3 primary colors. The mantis shrimp sees 16 primary colors. We humans may see a rainbow, but a mantis shrimp sees a cosmic explosion of vibrant hues unbeknownst to the human senses.
Some people may be skeptical of our claim. They may look at the mantis shrimp and ask, why should that be the best creature that ever lived? Well, I encourage them to look at the mantis shrimp and instead ask, why shouldn't that be the best animal that ever lived?
Finally, we would like to leave you with a quote from a knowledgeable and trustworthy internet website. The mantis shrimp is my new favorite animal because in the presence of such light and beauty, it embraces darkness. It extols death with the luminescent brilliance of a dying star. It is Genghis Khan bathed in sherbet ice cream. The mantis shrimp is the harbinger of blood-soaked rainbows. It is bright, it is dark, and it is beautiful. So I hope you are all thoroughly convinced now, and thanks for helping me out with this, James. And I hope you all enjoyed this video. Oh yeah, there's this awesome guy that totally made my first fan art. He did it a long time ago, and I was going to mention it in the animation that I was working on before this one, but my stupid hard drive completely corrupted and I lost the file, so I had to start on a new animation, which is what you're watching now. Anyways, he even made a time-lapse drawing of it, which is pretty cool, so here it is. Check it out if you want. Anyway, thanks, bye.